All the rain that fell on the site, none of it was being infiltrated. Everything was just running directly off the site into the street. We're talking about approximately 40,000 gallons of rain a year that were falling on this site. Our design goals when we design any site, the first goal is zero site runoff. So we want to make sure that any drop of water that falls on the site gets utilized as efficiently as possible on the site, and ideally nothing is leaving the site. Our second design goal is to utilize native plants and air-adapted plant materials so that we're not having to use any more water than is absolutely necessary to keep things growing. Our third site goal is to not have any municipal water input. So after a year, ideally, we want to be able to have the customers completely off of city and municipal water and have the landscape sustained completely with rainwater and gray water. So those are our three kind of broader design goals. So with this site in particular, one of the concerns we had was that originally this was just a completely graveled front yard, everything pitched out to the street. So all the rain that fell on the site, none of it was being infiltrated. Everything was just running directly off the site into the street. So we wanted to make sure that we could grab and capture that as much as we could. We're talking about approximately 40,000 gallons of rain a year that were falling on this site. So the way we could do that here was with these real subtle basins. This little rock cluster is what we call a beachhead, and we like to use these in landscapes. What we do is take a bunch of different sized rocks and group them together, and they create these little microclimates and kind of areas where we can get seed established. These little seed pockets will form and the seeds get in there. It also helps to direct water right to the seeds, and you can see we get a lot denser germination in these areas. So in this landscape we had another unique opportunity. We call it kind of low-hanging fruit, where their washing machine was already plumbed to an outside wall, so it was a relatively inexpensive proposition for them to get a plumber to come in and stub their laundry overflow back out to an outside line. We took it, once they stubbed it out, and we plumbed it into a gray water line. What that means is now every time they wash their laundry, all of that water, approximately 40 gallons per load, is coming out into their landscape. They had to do some stuff like change the soaps they were using to lower the salt, but that was all pretty minor stuff. Now they've got approximately 8,000 gallons a year that's going out into the landscape. It's being used currently to help get some desert lavender established, and over here there's a nice chase tree that's providing some shade in the corner. But again, just another low cost, kind of easy, simple, really sustainable way to keep some water on site and to help get these plants growing without any municipal inputs. And this is the citrus tree that was kind of neglected for 15 years without any irrigation. Now that we came in, we did the basins, it's going to be supported a few different ways. One is it's got all the rainwater that's going to collect and overflow from the tank in these nice basins. We also have this active line that's plumbed from the tank across the yard that will come, so when the client wants to water the citrus trees, all they got to do is open the hose bib, and now the tank is draining directly into the citrus basin. Another way is there's an overflow, so the tank also overflows. So when that tank is completely full and the rain's continuing to come down, that tank will then overflow into this basin and directly at the base of this citrus. And a final way is there's a structure behind us that has a small 15 by 15 roof with a gutter that comes out directly into this basin. So now when it rains, this tree is getting supported by lots of rainwater, and when it's not raining, it's very easy for the client to come out and open this hose spigot and get this tree watering and supported with rainwater alone. So again, this is a citrus tree that requires about 8,000 gallons of water a year to produce fruit, and it's able to get all of that exclusively from rainwater. The majority of the problems with this house in terms of erosion and runoff were happening in the backyard. Before we got here, this roof was not guttered. All of the water came directly off the roof. There was some kind of non-deliberate basins on this side of the house, just some low spots where water was kind of ponding where it would come off the roof, and then these were filling up and all the water was sheeting over this sidewalk and causing a lot of erosive problems on this side of the yard. The first thing we did was come and get the gutters put in. On both ends of the gutters they feed tanks, so now no water is coming directly off of the roof. And then the tanks are both set to overflow into this basin system that we created. So what I wanted to show here is how we plumb this tank. So first off, we start off with some oversized gutters. We have 6-inch gutters that feed this leaf diverter. The leaf diverter has a couple different screens on it. The larger screen will shun off all of the initial kind of leaves or debris that falls on the roof. Then there's a smaller screen inside that's actually mosquito proof, so mosquitoes can't get down into the plumbing. The main pipe goes down, it fills up a first flush, and once that first flush is full, it'll drain back into the tank. We like to show this because a lot of customers think that it has to be a direct feed from the gutter into the tank. We like to show that we can use what we call a wet feed to set the tanks back and kind of tuck them into out of the way areas. But the real water harvesting is happening on this side of the sidewalk where we've got this long basin system in. Again, you can kind of see the backyard is graded so that all the water moves away from the house. We have no sheet flow across the sidewalk, no flow at all across the sidewalk. All of the basoning and water harvesting is happening on this side. These basins fill up, then we have a real deliberate overflow that goes out into the alley. So again, once this all gets seeded, you'll have a lot more kind of dense vegetation being supported 100% by rainwater on this side of the yard.